Hello and welcome. The following instructions will explain how to transfer a digital image to a wooden surface using an inkjet printer. This process will result in a full-color, detailed copy of your picture on any variety of wood you can imagine. Have you ever tried to freehand copy or even trace an image from your computer? I have, and it's a painstaking process that takes forever to complete, and even then, the results are usually far from professional. My technique will solve these problems and produce a repeatable and professional-looking product. Do you need to personalize a charcuterie board with a pun-filled saying? Or perhaps you need to copy a pattern for you to follow with some relief-style wood carving? If so, this method is the one for you. Please set aside approximately 10 minutes to follow these instructions and complete the task. Let's get started by gathering all of the required materials. You will need a standard inkjet printer, a computer with a Windows operating system, a digital image which you have previously chosen to transfer, a roll of waxed paper, a standard sheet of 8.5 by 11 computer paper, a pair of scissors, a writing utensil of any kind, a roll of tape of any kind, and finally a flat, smooth wooden board. Now that we have all of our materials, let's hop over to the computer and begin our project. So here we are in the computer. What we want to do is find the image that you have previously selected for transferring. In this case, my photo is in the camera roll, so I'm going to go ahead and click on it to open up the photo preview window. In the top right corner, you will see the Edit and Create drop-down tab. Go ahead and click on that, and we will be editing, so you can go ahead and click on that as well. Here in the editing window, we won't be doing much. In fact, all we have to do is click the flip button once, which will give us the mirrored image of our picture. Then, go down to the bottom and click the blue button to save. Now that we have the mirrored version of our image, we can go ahead and return to our workstation for the next step in the process. We will now be creating the specialized transferring paper. To begin, go ahead and grab your sheet of computer paper and the roll of waxed paper. Unravel a sheet of the waxed paper until it is roughly the same size as your computer paper and tear off a piece. You can then lay it over the computer paper. Using your writing utensil, draw an offset rectangle about 3/4 of an inch inward from each side of the computer paper. You can use any type of writing utensil, but in this case, I'm using a regular marker. Now, with your pair of scissors, cut along the lines that you have just drawn. While I cut this out, I'll tell you about some of my favorite uses of this transferring technique. Most recently, I was able to personalize some drink coasters by transferring sports teams' logos to small wooden discs. Additionally, I've recently used this technique to transfer stencils when carving my family name into a wooden sign. Now that we have our piece of waxed paper cut out, we can go ahead and lay it down and center it on top of our piece of computer paper. Go ahead and grab a roll of tape and unravel a strip roughly the length of one edge of your wax paper. Tear off this piece from the roll and line it up over the edge of the wax paper. Press down firmly until both sheets are adhered together. Repeat this step for all 4 sides of the wax paper so that both sheets of paper will be bonded together and all of the edges of the wax paper will be entirely covered. You can use any type of tape you wish. For this example, I am using masking tape, though in the past I've also used Scotch tape, double stick tape, painter's tape, and even duct tape. While doing this, take care to keep your sheets flat throughout the process, and make sure that you don't have any tape hanging over the edges of the printer paper. Failure to do so will increase the likelihood of a printer jam. Now we have our transfer paper completely assembled, with wax paper on one side and printer paper on the other. Let's start the printing process by going ahead and popping that sheet into our printer. We are going to load this transfer paper just like any other piece of printer paper. Place it in the paper tray and jostle the sheet down until the sheet is completely seated in the paper tray. Just make sure that your wax paper side is facing upwards. Once you have completed this step, we can return to our computer for the last time. Once here, we will locate the image that we have previously flipped. Then, click on your mirrored image to open up the Photo Preview window. In the top right corner of your screen, find and click the Print icon button. This will open up the Print Preview window, where you can see how your image will appear on your final piece of paper. But really, all we have to do is click the Print button in the lower left-hand corner of the window. This will, of course, send a message to our Inkjet printer, telling it to complete the printing process. This is where we can watch our paper being moved through the machine and ending up in the print tray. Pick up the paper from the print tray. Do not, however, touch the image, because the ink is still wet and the picture will smudge. Retrieve your wooden board and hover your transfer paper over it. Flip the paper over and you will be able to see a faint outline of your image through the sheet. Line this up with the position where you want your transfer to occur and slowly lie the paper straight down. Place both of your hands on the paper, taking care not to shift it around. Use one hand to keep the paper in place and the other to slowly yet firmly rub the back of the paper. Continue to do this until you have rubbed the entire area of your image. Taking additional care not to smear your image, lift your paper straight up. And with that, you have successfully transferred a digital image to a wooden board. The last step is to simply let the ink dry for approximately 30 to 60 seconds. When looking at the transfer paper, you will see why it was necessary to mirror the image in the computer. The wax paper on this sheet will still have wet ink on it, so be careful when disposing of it to avoid spreading its coloring. Let's get a closer look at my example image. As you can see, the picture I chose was mostly black and white, with a little bit of color for the gradient around the letters. Color, however, is not a limitation of this method, and if you choose, you can use any full color image you like. Just know that dark colors show up best on light colored wood, and vice versa. Not every attempt you make will turn out flawlessly. For example, there is a bit of a ripple in my image due to the wax paper being creased. This technique is not a perfect art form. However, compared to freehand drawing and tracing, there is no contest. We were able to transfer this digital image into this physical copy, which I think is just an incredible thing. This method is very simple, cheap, and easy to replicate. Just gather your materials, flip the digital image, construct your transfer paper, print, and rub the ink onto the wood. 5 simple steps for a professional looking product in just 10 minutes. Ready to use for stenciling patterns, personalized artwork, and customizations of all kinds. The possibilities are really only limited by your creativity, so get transferring and have fun.